Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for the upcoming full moon that's occurring on August 12th, 2022. Before we get into the forecast, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading to take a closer look at your own numerology and your own energy associated with those vibrations, book some time with me. I would love to work with you. My information is in the description box below. Okay, so for this illumination, we are working with quite heavily the energies of the 17-8 and the 12-3. And so I'm going to break it down again collectively, which we are all a part of the collective. So we will feel the influence in some way, or we will hold space for someone who's feeling the influence in some way. And then I'm going to take a closer look at each individual life path number. So collectively, we are working with the energies of the 3 and the 8, most predominantly. So life force creation energy that's begging to be channeled into something physical and tangible in a big way. So again, 3 being the creation energy, creative life force that wants to be expressed, and 8 energy that sort of brings the power dynamic, that brings the physicality to whatever this is. And so the idea being the 3 energy, the 8 being bringing it into physical form. So this could be quite literal, such as having a baby or like inception of a baby or, starting that process, whatever the case may be. Or it could be the beginning or the culmination, because again, this is a full moon, or the birth of a big creative idea or project that you've been working on. So this can translate in so many different ways. Maybe you've been carrying around an idea or inspiration, and now the people, the places, the things sort of surface to assist you in bringing that idea or that dream into reality. Because again, just think of like 3 is the inspiration. 3 is the creative, it's that creative life force, but it's like a feeling. It's inspiration, right? It's more ethereal. The 8 energy is very physical. It's very ambitious. It's goal-oriented. So you couple these two together and there's something big and creative. There's some kind of life force energy that wants to be molded into something very physical, very tangible, that can be a solution or can be utilized by a greater population. This is not small energy where it's like meant to only be consumed by self or sort of expressed only for the sole purpose of self. This is, again, very big, expansive, meant to be felt by the masses or a greater population energy, right? And it comes down to your own creative idea, your own creative inspirations, and how that translates for you and how you can move it into the physical in some way. So this is really powerful, big energy. And this is so supportive for, again, bringing those dreams, those inspirations into the reality, into the 3D physical plane. This energy, especially coupled with the 8, or because it's coupled with the 8, this is all about, again, 3D physical assistance, realizing an idea or a dream, right? Something that you want to create. So in astrology, what's interesting, and I say it's interesting, but the astrology and the numerology a lot of times correlate. There's a lot of synergy there. And so that's why I always say, like, if you get a numerology reading, make sure you're also getting an astrology reading and vice versa, because it just opens so many doors. In astrology, this moon falls within the sign of Aquarius, so we can also sort of feel the push to think unconventionally or to think outside the box in a way that takes the needs of the greater good into consideration. So both the 8 and the 3, again, are big, ambitious energies, and they are meant to be expressed in ways that, again, are going to have some kind of greater impact potentially on others. So typically I would say if this was just 3 energy, then it would be energy that would potentially just want to be, it's that creative life force energy that simply wants to be expressed for business, for pleasure, for self, whatever, as a hobby, whatever. However, For those using this energy to create in the physical form an idea or, whatever the case may be, have fun in the process, of course, right? Like that's, if you're not taking inspired action, then you're taking action out of obligation, and that sort of diminishes that life force process, right? That life force creative process. So with the energy of the 8, again, this is looking to land in a way that is associated with business, money, solutions, power or influence, but not in a dominating way, not in a manipulative way. This is looking again to equalize power or balance power or redistribute power or whatever the case may be. Because think of taking that big creative idea and moving it into something tangible that has the potential to be a solution for not only self, but others as well. This also is going to bring into focus, because it's that 8 energy, empowerment, right? So maybe you're creating something, maybe you're bringing something into the reality that is not only empowering for self, but potentially empowering for others as well. Think like resources and so on, right? And so anything that 8 energy really has influence over. Now, 8 energy is also incredibly spiritual. It's very connected to a higher consciousness, to the spiritual realm. But really for these purposes, I do feel like, because we have this 3 energy that we're working with, which is also very connected, it's very spiritual, it's very ethereal, because it's married with the 8 under this illumination, this is, again, bringing a inspiration or creative idea into the physical and making it, having integrity behind it, to where it's not just for selfish purposes, where it's not just to serve self, right? There's something bigger at play here. And we're also in a 6 universal year. So again, nurturing, community are all kind of really taken into place here. So this all plays together. This has the potential to be a very big, influential full moon. So again, there's often a very tangible, practical, and goal associated with 8 energy. And so that's why I say there's something here where it's not just simply for pleasure. Like, you should get pleasure out of this process, but there's meant to be more to the goal, right? To the end vision. So again, this is a full moon. So it will bring things to culmination now, or it will shine an enormous spotlight on what you have been missing out on, or what you're missing when it comes to getting started on whatever this is, or making whatever this is happen, right? It's kind of like the 4 of Cups. I'm just getting an image of the 4 of Cups in tarot, where it's you're so focused on something, and this is going to illuminate sort of that missing puzzle piece that's going to help you to get started, or help you to make big strides in accomplishing whatever this is. And I would also say this is sort of star energy in tarot. Again, big dreams coming to reality. But you have to put in the effort. You're the conduit here. You're the catalyst. You're the one who's going to take the inspiration and make it into something, make it into a reality, right? So it's not something that it's just a gift from the universe. Here you go. You have to do the work. You have to say yes to this. You have to show up to it. You have to be persistent. You have to keep showing up to it, to make that dream a reality, right? You are the missing puzzle piece, basically, which, yeah. So maybe you're the 4th cup, right? You are the missing link. Anyway, so this moon will highlight for you maybe where it is that you've been procrastinating, or just convincing yourself that you're not ready, or that you can't do it, or whatever the case may be. And so it's going to be up to you to kind of work with that mindset, or those mindsets, to shift that energy so that you can step into this believing that you're capable of it, and taking that first step, because that's always what it ultimately always comes down to, is taking that first step. If you don't get started, it's not going to get done, right? That's just the way it works. Someone else may do it, but they're not going to do it the way that you would do it. So if you want whatever this is, and you want it to be done and, according to your vision, and with the integrity behind that vision, you have to take the first step. You have to put in the effort. And this energy is so supportive for this. So this 12-3 energy will also bring the reminder of sort of like cause and effect. Often whatever happens is a result of an individual's own choice or decision. So either conscious or unconscious, right? So reality is illusion and illusion is reality. So point being, if you sit through all of this beautiful energy with a negative mindset, replaying all the reasons why you can't do something or why you aren't good enough or whatever the case may be, whatever we tell ourselves, right? To get started, to keep ourselves from getting started, then guess what? You will be right and you won't do anything and you won't accomplish what it is that your soul is trying to get you to accomplish. So don't ever forget how incredibly powerful you are with not only your own like sort of expansiveness and your freedom, but also within your own barriers and restrictions. You have just as much power in your expansiveness, in your creativity, in, stepping into purpose, in all of those things. You have all of that power, all of that empowerment, but you are just as powerful when it comes to your own barriers and your own restrictions. So be really mindful of that and use that power wisely, right? Especially with this energy. So this 12-3 energy helps us to sort of find ways in which to bring conflicting polarities together in a really harmonious way. So this is just, like I said, in astrology, I'm an Aquarius moon. And so this is a very personal moon for me, but this is just such beautiful energy, such big, powerful energy, especially for creating something, for bringing something to life. So yeah, if there's that idea or that inspiration that you've been talking yourself out of, or you've really wanted to do, or whatever the case may be, this energy is really going to assist you in that. You just have to get started. You have to take the first step, right? And then continue to take those steps. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at your life path number. Life path number 7. So for you all, this is interesting. So you are also, of course, working with the collective energy of the 8 and the 3. So everything that I talked about in the intro, but you guys are also working with the energy of the 15-6 and the 10-1. What's interesting is the 15-6 energy. 6 energy is unconditional love, right? That's the vibration. 15 brings this sort of influencing energy of conditional love. And things that we may need to work through to move beyond those conditions. And so think of it as like the devil card in tarot, right? It's those things that we keep ourselves restricted or confined through unnecessary conditions or unnecessary rules or whatever the case may be, or restrictive mindsets, right? So it's interesting because you all have this undercurrent of that 15-6 energy that you're working with. So this is going to be an energy of illuminating for you that conditional love or that overly restrictive or critical mindset. So where have you been sort of being overly critical or overly rigid with your analysis of self or others? How is that sort of restricting you? And how can you break free from that? And that's not necessarily something where it's like, although it could be illuminated on the 12th and those chains are broken free and you feel free and you can move on. But it may also be like, it's a realization that like, okay, I am the only one that's really restricting myself here. I am the only one that's really holding myself back from creating whatever it is I want to create, or doing whatever it is that I want to do, or going after whatever it is that I want to go after. Ultimately, it is myself, and I, right? And so if you look at the devil card in tarot, it's interesting because, one of the main points about that is like, there's these chains around these two people, but they're not really, they're either super loose where the people could easily take them off, or they're not hooked to anything. So it's kind of like those pictures you see of like a horse that's like tied to a water bottle. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all like an illusion of the mind, like thinking that you are being confined or restricted, but really they're like self-imposed restrictions. Or again, it's like love with conditions, and that includes for self. Like, where is it that you're putting all of these restrictions or high expectations or whatever on yourself that is impeding your movement forward, that's not allowing you to go after the things that you truly want to go after, that your heart is really speaking to you about, or creating the thing that you really want to create in this lifetime. How is it that you can sort of move through those restrictions, those mindsets, or start that process to break free from that? What feels more authentically like you and your identity versus what others or society has sort of claimed for you, right? So, and there's so much that you could unpack here, but I think you get the idea. So there's definitely something here that, and again, it's a general reading, so it's not going to resonate for everyone, but there's definitely something here that's being illuminated for some of you, right? If this resonates, this is for you. There's definitely something under this full moon that wants to be seen, that wants to be recognized for the illusion that it is, for like the restriction or self-imposed restriction that it is. And this energy is meant to assist you in moving beyond that, in seeing it for what it is, becoming aware of it, and then starting that process to move beyond it, so that you're no longer as sort of hypercritical towards yourself or towards others. But I don't know, again, this just sort of feels like very much, because you're working with that 10-1 energy. So it's very much about self. It's very much about the individual. So again, it could be about like these hypercritical judgments or whatever that you're putting on others, whatever. But I really feel like it's about self. I really feel like it's like, this is conditional love for self. So again, it's like, I will be worthy of whatever this is when I do this. I will be a whole perfect human being when I do this, right? Or whatever it is that we tell ourselves. So there's something here about conditional love and sort of an overly critical mindset when it comes to yourself and your own capabilities or what you're worthy of. And so this can be an somewhat emotional full moon for some of you, or a hypersensitive full moon, especially if you're sensitive to energy anyway, which you're a 7. So if I was a betting woman, I would say that you probably are very hypersensitive to energy, to experiences. So my point being, there's something here about conditional love towards self and how to work towards alleviating that, but to live through the process, right? Like not putting everything on hold until you get to that point, right? Okay, when I alleviate this, whatever it is that you don't like about yourself or whatever, or that you're restricting on yourself, then I will start living. Then I will start experiencing life. No, it's like this energy is saying that's also a condition. Like, you're allowed to live and enjoy life once you do this, and only if you do this. That's a condition. So that comes back to that conditional love, right? Like, no, you're meant to experience and enjoy and create and do all these things now. As you continue to work through the things that maybe you know that you can modify, or that you want to work on, or that you want to improve, or whatever the case may be. You get the point. So a lot coming in here around that. I do think that not only are you going to be working again with that 8-3 energy of like creating something into the physical from the ethereal, I think we're all going to be experiencing that energy to some degree, or holding space for someone who is. But for you all, the big takeaway from this full moon is about this conditional love that you just keep beating yourself up with, and how to sort of break those chains or start that process, but to also to continue to live your life and experience life through the process, right? Like, not making yourself wait until you get to whatever the end goal is for you, because that can also change. So live the life, experience the joy, all that stuff, while working at alleviating the conditional aspects of the love that you hold for yourself, right? Or your worth, or whatever it is. Powerful full moon for sevens. So I hope it's a beautiful one for you all. Take care. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.